We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it! My life has value. You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
With Jason Bermas.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is good to see everybody. Oh, we got a little Dementia Joe playing in the background. But don't worry, we're going to get to Dementia Joe. ChatGPT. Not AI. Not AI by any means. And what do I mean by that? Because obviously it's something. It's a program. It's a data scraper slash analyzer slash narrative controller. Now, there's a lot of other things that it does. All right. But when it comes down to the idea that this is going to be human-like intelligence, that's just false. Instead, what they want to do is they want to automate most people out of their jobs. And a lot of these people are pencil pushers. A lot of these people are, how do I describe this? They're not even middle management. Okay, and we're talking across the board. They want to get rid of these people. They want to get rid of you in education. They want to get rid of you in law enforcement. They want to get rid of you in banking. Okay, and in a lot of ways, they want to get rid of a lot of people, even inside the tech scene, a la low-level programmers. But the real goal is to constantly not only control the narrative, but criminalize other narratives. And that's what we see with this new TikTok bill, the TikTok ban bill. There is no ban of TikTok. It has nothing to do with TikTok as far as I've seen. And the way the bill starts out, and by the way, we're going to read the bill today. It's 55 pages long. I'm not sure we're going to get through the whole thing. But we're going to do some analysis on it. You read the first thing on this bill, the first thing, to authorize the Secretary of Commerce to review and prohibit certain transactions between persons in the United States and foreign adversaries and for other purposes. Let's just stop right there. Now, there's been a lot of talk about what a foreign adversary actually is. It's not a foreign nation, doesn't have to be a nation state, doesn't have to be an intelligence organization. It's literally whatever they want. But then they literally broad end, open it up right at the end, and for other purposes. What this is the culmination of not just criminalizing speech, but pre-crime itself. And the AI is also going to be set to what? figure out behavior patterns, and they're going to try to convince the public that the AI will also be able to stop crime. Pre-crime, Minority Report style. Track, trace database everywhere, and eventually under your skin if it's not already there. Okay? 300 million jobs. 300 million jobs could be affected by latest wave of AI, says Goldman Sachs. All right? And this is yesterday. Now, the thing is that as the banking system also implodes in front of our eyes in this gradual, controlled collapse, and we're seeing it now, and what are they trying to convince you of? Okay, inflation was transitory, and it's just the smaller banks that are in trouble. I watched some of the C-SPAN hearings, had to be 2 nights ago. I don't think it was last night. 2 nights ago, involving the Silicon Valley Bank and why they were going under. And they brought this guy on there that had only been with the Fed, the Federal Reserve, for a short period of time. However, admitted that, and I'm sure that there's going to be more that comes out than just this, but admitted that in February, a large presentation was given in his presence and others that featured, okay, in no uncertain terms, the instability, okay, and the insolvency, really, of Silicon Valley Bank. Now, I think right now we're probably looking at dozens, if not hundreds, of smaller banks that will go under and will be eliminated in the next 3 to 18 months. Really gradually bringing you along into the next election cycle or selection cycle, as we like to call it here. Now, the question is, how far are we into this conflict with Russia? Scott Ritter was on Alex Jones yesterday, okay? And the reason that I'm bringing that up is that Ritter had his Twitter account suspended yesterday as well, just out of nowhere. And are they linked? I don't know. But I was watching Scott Ritter, and if you're not following Ritter on Twitter, again, Ritter's not a perfect human being. I think I've been critical of Ritter in the past, of not talking about 9/11, but he was the weapons inspector. He told you there were no WMDs, all that stuff. Okay? And again, no one's perfect. But there he is with Alex Jones yesterday. Sat there for an hour, really opined on the possibility of World War III and just said, look, there is no such thing as a limited nuclear strike or tactical nuclear weapons. If it goes, it's over. He was quite frank with everybody. I mean, he told the entire audience, you're dead. Now, I don't know if that's the case. You know, I'm a survivor. I'm going to make it. I'm a survivor. You better believe it. But am I going to survive a nuclear blast? No. And not many either. You know, his point is that the nuclear proliferation treaties are basically off the table. There's one that goes into 2026. But after that, it's over. And Russia has already said, look, we can't talk to you anymore. We can't have inspections with you anymore because your policy is that you are trying to topple and eliminate our very regime. You know, love Russia, hate Russia. That's the fact, Jack. They're open about it now. Okay? And I'm disturbed that we're sitting here and we're acting like the muskernuts and Twitter is the bastion of free speech when it's not just Ritter getting suspended for God knows what, but a bunch of accounts, including Marjorie Taylor Greene's. Again, this is a member of Congress, whether you like her or not. And there are certain things about her that I do not care for. All right? But a slew of these tweets were taken down, and then accounts were suspended again. Now, a lot of these are probably bots. What do I mean by that? Algorithms that have certain accounts tagged, and then some hot topic or keyword goes out, and then all those accounts are immediately restricted if they use that key term. In other words, it's not a person hunting these down. No, it's actually using programming and what they would call AI. None of it's real AI. Okay, none of it's real AI. Just want to say that. By the way, let's thumbs it up, subscribe, and share everywhere, everybody. It's an early Thursday morning. Good morning. And then in turn, those people are censored. We still have not seen a WikiLeaks style drop of the Twitter files. Elon Musk is still pushing the same transhumanist agenda, despite the fact for calling to a halt to the development of AI. And by the way, you see ChatGPT's logo, and it says open artificial intelligence. None of this is open. None of this is open source. Garbage in, garbage out. That's not real. The last time people really had open source software and access to the code was in the beginning of the development of Android with Google, because Google, being that smart Trojan horse civilian system in the beginning, knew that by opening up especially an operating system for relatively new devices, they would get all sorts of innovation that no matter how much money they threw at it and how many programmers they hired, they would never, ever, 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 ever get that far. And certain projects certainly became commercialized over the years. For instance, it was almost encouraged, if you were a tinker in the beginning, to root your device. And once you rooted your device, you could, it's not a jailbreak, it's something different. You could put what they would call custom ROMs on there, custom ROMs. And one of those really more popular ones, CyanogenMod, would become a legitimate and stable version of the operating system. You would have people look at that CyanogenMod, and really that's where a lot of the de-Googling of phones would happen. So in other words, there are phones out there via Graphene OS, Lineage OS, I think Callisto is another one of these, that basically get rid of the embedded Google apps, such the G apps, the gaps as they call them, such as Gmail and Google search being embedded, et cetera, et cetera. And this is supposed to protect you from pinging and the fact that you don't have to set up an account with them, alternative stores, so you don't have to use the Google Play Store, et cetera, et cetera. That's positive, but it's minuscule. And really, maybe now is the time that a lot of you out there are going to start to want to explore these technologies. You know, I went on Making Sense of the Madness yesterday, and I discussed VPNs and their services, and it came to China, okay? And once again, China's a very large place, and people think about Chinese-style censorship, but Dragonfly was Google's program to write that. We knew about it, okay? Eric Schmidt got questioned about it, acted like, well, I don't know what you're... Well, I don't work there no more. I'm not... Go ask Sergey Brin. And then, in short order, that censored form of the internet came to us. Your Google Chrome browser, your search results. We do it here all the time. Think about just yesterday, if you were watching the broadcast, and we were trying to find the story of human experimentation involving children in Brooklyn being injected with live cancer viruses and hepatitis. I mean, we type it into Google, good luck. Good luck. DuckDuckGo, a little better. But still, you can see that the results aren't as refined as they would be if it wasn't garbage into the Google algorithm. And that's how you know that the AI is not going to be true AI just out of the gates by just looking what they've done via search engines, via operating systems and their limitations. And that's a real thing too. You know, they don't want to encourage you towards a Linux. It's always a Windows or a Chrome browser. All right? And that's on purpose too, because you better believe there are backdoors in all of those. In the chipsets. Let's grow up. That's the reality. So, you know, we showed you the 300 million jobs. Let's read a little of that. And then I've got a couple of other Chat GPT, because they're talking about GPT-4. And by the way, I haven't played with any of these yet. I'm considering doing it live on the air. Maybe we're going to spend 2 hours with these things. Just to show you how it's not artificial intelligence. And immediately when you take it outside of the norm, it's going to give you some heinous, restrictive answer. You know, don't dare question 9/11 on something like this. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Out of Hong Kong, as many as 300 million full-time jobs around the world could be automated in some way by the newest wave of artificial intelligence, and has spawned platforms like ChatGPT, according to Goldman Sachs economists. They predicted in a report Sunday that 18%, 18% of work globally could be computerized, with the effects felt more deeply in advanced economies than emerging markets. And really, when they say advanced economies, they mean docile, do-nothing consumer economies like we have become, where we no longer have a slew of factories, where we no longer produce anything. I had Peter Dale Scott talking about this in my 2010 film, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined. Okay? He's talking about how our biggest export is garbagio, garbage. All right? So when you don't have an infrastructure here, and everything is consumer-based, and they want to work you into the gig economy, all right, yeah. Because what's one of the first things that's going to be computerized and automated once they get their 5G on? Well, it's going to be vehicles. And if you don't think they'll move on you Uber and Lyft drivers. You better believe they're doing that. They can't wait to have nobody come pick you up. They already got nobody delivering your Domino's pizza. That's cute, isn't it? Little robot bringing the Domino's. Awesome. Come on. Just crazy. That's partly because white-collar workers are seen to be more at risk than manual laborers. Well, look, they're looking to take out the vast majority of the manual laborers, but they don't have the technology just yet for that. They have to be able to automate systems of robotics and also get you accustomed to human-like robotics. That's another thing that's going on with the Muskernuts and his little Tesla bot, Optimus. Okay? Administrative workers and lawyers are expected to be most affected, the economist said, compared to the little effect seen on physically demanding or outdoor occupants, such as construction and repair work. And let's talk about that. Law firms, if utilizing this correctly, they're going to be able to search large-scale documents for case law and restrict that. But it's still going to be the very smart ones that find that case law and then exploit it in a manner that it's beneficial to their client. All right? So I'd be more worried about administrative workers and really lower-level lawyers that are public defender types, right? And even people in the district attorney's office, they're going to start to get worked out a little bit more. And why? Well, your AI, they're going to argue, is going to be better than some 2-bit lawyer that isn't winning cases. And this is going to trap you into a system where you're no longer really innocent until proven guilty. You're taking whatever deal they offer you based on the odds and the AI program you have in front of you. Good times. Good times. And if you think that those people, are somewhat, first of all, you don't want a public defender. Let's be real. Okay, that's bad news, Brown. Most of these people are all golfing together and cutting backdoor deals anyway. That's the corruption and collusion. It's who you know, how much influence you have, and how much money and resources you have. Period. Okay? So, the super rich, you think they're going to go to AI for lawyers? Nope. No, they're not. Now, they'll use law firms that utilize AI, but the way they utilize the AI will sometimes be in such a manner that it's almost, classification. This isn't going to stop the haves and the have-nots from existing. This is going to make the haves be the have-everythings if they have their way. Stakeholder capitalism, carbon credit score, social credit score, all of it will be based on artificial intelligence and algorithms. Okay? That's not really AI. Okay? Tech leaders urge a pause in the out-of-control artificial intelligence race. So they want a 6-month pause on the latest GPT-4. All right? And I haven't messed with any of this stuff. I think it's super interesting. I'd like to do some of the art generation stuff. I've seen people who've said they've created full comic books from this, and I'm wondering, if I put the right commands in, can I have a comic book illustrated to make it look like a Todd McFarlane comic book? Has anyone done any of that yet? I've seen some AI pictures and paintings of Chris Farley as the Joker. Amazing, There's more and more Trump ones out there. There were the crazy Trump arrest ones. I just saw Trump taking an ayahuasca trip with natives. Interesting stuff. And that stuff's fun, but is that going to automate out the creatives? And, they talk about, are we going to even automate out the jobs that bring joy to their workers, that are satisfying? And I think that competition is just going to win out, period. Are tech companies moving too fast in rolling out powerful artificial intelligence technology that could one day outsmart humans? That's the conclusion of a group of prominent computer scientists and other tech industry notables, such as Elon Musk and Apple's co-founder Steve Wozniak, who are calling for a 6-month pause to consider the risks. Now, here's the thing. You could call for this. You could even pass some bill that says you're going to do it. That's not going to happen. The military-industrial complex is not going to stop developing software. Is not going to stop developing programs, that it finds militarily beneficial. And since we're in a full spectrum war for humanity, there's just no way. Plus, I don't think that we've seen how far these type of programs have actually gotten, and we're just seeing the commercialized versions of them, obviously. I mean, again, we haven't even gotten into the realm yet of quantum computing at a commercial base. Most people don't even understand the basics of what quantum computing is. Now, commercially, certain computers are now being branded quantum computers. But the question is, how much more efficient are they going to be? Are they going to be able to solve other problems that traditional computers can't? I have not seen the evidence for that yet. In fact, one of the big things when you get to quantum computing is what exactly are the questions you're going to ask the quantum computer, and how is it going to answer them? It's a good question. Their petition, published Wednesday, is a response to San Francisco startup OpenAI's, and I hate that. I can't stand it. OpenAI. It's not open. OpenAI. Ooh, we're open for business is what's open. OpenAI's a recent release of GPT-4, a more advanced successor to its widely used AI chatbot ChatGPT that helped spark a race among tech giants Microsoft and Google to unveil similar applications. Oh, NPR, you're not getting nothing from me. You better watch yourself, National Public Radio, asking me for scratch. Get out of here, NPR. No mas! The letter warns that AI systems with human competitive intelligence can pose profound risks to society and humanity, from flooding the internet with disinformation and automating away jobs to more catastrophic future risks out of the realm of science fiction. It says, recent months have seen AI labs locked in an out-of-control race to develop and deploy even more powerful digital minds that no one, not even their creators, can understand, predict, or reliably control. I disagree. Again, since these things are programmed, they have reliably controlled them. I haven't seen anything because can anyone send me a chat GPT that got out of control? That went against its master? We call on all AI labs to immediately pause for at least 6 months the training of AI systems more powerful than GPT-4, the letter says. This pause should be public and verifiable and include all key actors. If such a pause cannot be enacted quickly, government should step in and institute a moratorium. That gets dangerous. Do you want government to have a monopoly on this type of technology? No. No, you don't. You want the little guy to be able to access this technology. So hopefully, eventually, there will be open alternatives. You know, we talk about VPNs in this new bill that we're going to read. Okay? And the thing about the VPN is that most people in China are using them. They want the real internet. That's what I was discussing on Making Sense of the Madness yesterday. Yeah, again, they just get now, if you're going to criminalize VPN use, if you're going to make something so broad in the beginning that you just say, and other uses, well, what are those other, just anything we want. Anything we want. And by the way, no TikTok on Government Devices Act. I can't even believe, this isn't it, by the way. This is a different one. This is a Josh Hawley bill. This is not the Senate bill. Sorry about that. I forgot that I didn't take this back. You know, you can find these bills. This is S686. Let me see. Do I want to hit any other stories first? Yes. I wanted to hit these stories right here. Indonesia to pull the plug on Visa and MasterCard. President calls them a problem. Now, it would be one thing if we were talking about the traditional Visa and MasterCard that used to, 30 years ago, just be a credit card. It's not just a credit card. This will work into everything we've been talking about, Goldman Sachs, the whole nine. No. Visa and MasterCard are what? Linked to debit cards, including mine, throughout the country, therefore linked to the banking system itself. I mean, almost every single, I'm going to look at mine right now. There's a MasterCard one. I literally have, let me show it to you. I don't want to give my numbers or anything like that, but we'll do. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Get to see my thing. But my two bank accounts, right there, Visa and MasterCard. Now, we already know we have a fiat system. But when you have Indonesia, which, yes, we do a lot of business with and a lot of products come from, okay, saying they're getting rid of external financial platforms like that, that's not great. That's not great. It shows me that I think I'm right, that they're going to slowly implode this system. They're trying to bring in that digital currency. Boy, they want that that sweet, sweet CBDC of control. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This one's Rand Paul talking about this bill that we're going to read some of in the broadcast, if not all of it. 55 pages. We'll see. We'll see. But here's Paul talking about this. All right, right? This is I think that he's talking about it going against the First Amendment, and this also maybe talking about the if you see the headline there, I don't want to even say those words. Let's play it. Oh, come on. Come on, Fox.
3 years later, meanwhile, Beijing is still stonewalling and blocking any information about the origins of COVID-19. But Republican Senator Rand Paul says it's not just China, it's also the U.S. government obstructing the truth.
So apparently, even though he says that the bill goes against the First Amendment, this is them obfuscating the origins. I don't even know if I want to play that on YouTube. Oh, my goodness. Oh, I mean, let's not go again. Listen, the World Health Organization and the United Nations obviously love us. And they obviously tell us the truth all the time. Just every day, all day. Every day, all day, truth telling. That's what it's kind of their thing. Okay? Because they love us so much. They love us so much that in this lovely book here, the Eugenics Review, okay? This is the Eugenics Review. It's breaking down some of the societal goals of the Eugenics Review. Quite in conformity with the idea of sex liberty is the notion discussed by some writers of the disintegration of the modern family. It would follow from the right of spinsters to motherhood that the state will have to take over the care of all children thus born. Dr. Eden Paul has no doubt that state homes for children, and not the homes of one family, will be the next phase in the natural evolution of civilization to which present-day tendencies are pointing strongly. All right? Do you get it? They want to destroy your humanity, which has to do with your biology and the biology of your family that inherently, intrinsically feel love and devotion for you because you are essentially a part of them. Let's break that up. Let's bust that up. That's part of what? Eugenics and unzipped genes and taking charge of baby making in this new millennium. Let's take charge of the baby making. Yeah! Let's put everybody in homes that aren't with their parents. Yeah! Yeah! And, that all comes down to neo-feudalism, techno-fascism, collectivism, and the plans for a new world order. I still haven't gone through this chart. I will, I promise. But before we launch into the second hour at the top of the hour, redvoicemedia.com/Jason, redvoicemedia.com/uncensored, only $10 a month, or lock it in for $100 for the year. We got a new year-long subscriber yesterday. I want to thank that person for locking it in and becoming a part of the Red Voice Media family. I also want to thank some of the people out there that have donated recently or sent super chats. Adam, my vegan buddy, really great. Really want to thank you for that PayPal donation. Let me see. I had a super chat, and by the way, I didn't realize there are like Rumble rants or something, or Rumble something or other where you can tip. I don't think I've gotten one tip on Rumble ever. That's an odd part of the platform. Like, not a lot of people comment on Rumble, even if the video gets an exceptional amount of views. It's tough, but really, we're just trying to reach people. Scott Free says this. He sent a $10 tip last night. Holy shiz, gonna help us die with dignity. Who are these psychotic people that lust after machines more than the joy of humanity and life? Yes, who are they? I wonder if there is a legal case that can be made that some of these people are conspiring in the legal sense to commit mass murder. Guy who says something like that should not really be getting any funding at the least. So I'm not even sure which video that was on because it doesn't tell me, but it fits the MO of what we talk about. Eugenics, population control, automation, and really that's what the AI is here for. It's to bring in the automation apocalypse and really get rid of the human element in favor of a great narrative. Because if they are able to do that and automate everything, well, they can bring you any puppet in chief they like. And Joey B, we'll show you some gangster Joey B. We're going to play the extended CFR clip because I have this other CFR clip all about corruption. And then you'll watch Joe Biden being corrupt back when he could still talk. This is a tough to watch clip. It's 8 minutes long. We're probably going to do the whole thing, the watch along with Joey B here. But it's very evident the man clearly has dementia. I mean, he doesn't know. You watch this guy. Okay. You watch this guy. He looks around. He gives his uncomfortable smile. He asks if we're ready to go. Like everything telling you that he is a malleable puppet that barely is conscious. Let's go to it.
Are we on?
Are we on? I mean, look at him. Just like that whole clueless moment right from the very beginning. Scary.
Shall I begin? Hello, everyone.
And he's also coughing all the time because he's obviously not healthy either. Let's be honest.
Let me start by apologizing for the slight cold I have. That's the only thing that's happening to me these days.
That's the only thing that's happening to me these days. You're the president of the United States. I think a lot more should be happening than you just getting a cold. It's the only, I mean, again, you're not making decisions. So I guess maybe it is the only thing, Joe.
Let me start by thanking everyone for participating in the second Summit of Democracies. For democracy, I should say.
I can't even read off the prompter. You know, I mean, we're off to a great 30-second start, Joe.
But more importantly, thank you for the work you've put in over the last 15 months to deliver on commitments you made to each other and to our peoples for the first summit from the first summit of our democracy. Again,
he can't talk. He can barely read off the prompter, and he reads in such a manner he's sped up. You can hear he talks really quick, and then he can't really talk. This guy doesn't run anything. He doesn't run anything.
Look, you know, that's the power of these summits. Not just to speak high-minded words and shine a spotlight on those critical issues, but to galvanize action and translate to concrete progress for people around the world. That's how we make democracy deliver for everyone. And here's what I hope everyone gathered here and everyone watching around the world takes away from this summit. It's working. It's working. You know, when we gathered here in December of 2021, the sentiment in too many places around the world was that democracy's best days were behind us. Democracy had declined by some measures for 15 consecutive years.
That was the consensus, that democracy's best days are behind them? First of all, we're a constitutional republic with democratic values. They've taken the word democracy and basically formed it into whatever version they want it to be. You want election integrity? You want an audit? You don't want the machines? You're against democracy. You want people to show an identification? You're against democracy. And you're a bigot. Wild. Wild times.
But this year, we can say there's a different story to tell. Thanks to the commitment of leaders and global gathered today and the persistence of people in every region.
Thanks to the commitment of leaders global gathered today. Just can't get a sentence out.
Of the world, demanding their rights be respected and their voices being heard. We're seeing real indications that we're turning the tide here. As I often say, we're at an inflection point in history here. When the decisions we make today are going to affect the course of our world for the next several decades, for certain. We're going forward from this summit. Our job is to keep building on our progress so we don't start heading in the wrong direction again, to keep the momentum going. This is a turning point for our world toward greater freedom, greater dignity, and greater democracy.
This guy always talks about dignity. It's the one thing he can remember, other than who his enemies in Congress and the Senate are, who are Republican. With his, that laugh about the kids and the targeting of Christians yesterday. Look, I ain't even trying to make that whole thing about a right or left issue. Quite frankly, I don't really want to talk about it much. I'm sick of talking about dead kids. But, with what we know from the text message to the person's best friend, it was suicide by cop on top of it. This person had no intention whatsoever of surviving what they did. All right? So if that's the case, and they admitted that they left a ton of evidence behind, and they have a manifesto. Look, we got some of the stuff in record time. The body cam footage, the school footage, and I know there's a lot of people out there talking about drills and shoot. That's not real. It bothers me, but whatever. It's not real. Even yesterday, I think whoever was doing the 4th hour on Alex Jones was saying all these things about the Nashville shooting. That's a dead person on the ground. That's what that is. That's not someone acting. They didn't fake that. That person was behind cover, had a weapon, was shot by police officers, and then was in a dead pose with their leg bent backwards, not moving. And I guarantee you that if you take away the blur on the face, it's the same person on the thing. And the shoe thing, I think, can easily be explained by a downward angle, 360p, and compression. Because every other part of the shoe matches. And to say that it was going to pick up the flame pattern from there on those angles, I think is, I think it's a red herring. If that's the best evidence you have, and I've heard that the timestamp doesn't match or something like that, that can also be very easily explained. So, unless you can explain to me how there's just a dead person sitting there that appears to be shot, we got to stop there, okay? But what we really should do is find out again what drugs this person was on, because you know what drugs I don't think they were on? I don't think they were on marijuana. Right? I don't think she was just sitting back smoking bongs and blunts, everybody. That's not what was going on. You got to wonder whether or not the hormones were there or any of the psychotropic drugs had been prescribed. This person was almost 30 years old, obviously independent of their parents, obviously very angry they went to that Christian school. To act like the person didn't target, the school they were at because they were unhappy with Christianity at a minimum level, I think is also ignorant. Why can't we own up to that? Doesn't mean you're a Bible thumper. My God. All right. Let's get back to Kooky Joe.
Here in the United States, we've demonstrated that our democracy can still do big things and deliver important progress for working Americans. We're bringing down the cost of essentials like prescription drugs and health insurance premiums. We're giving families a little bit more, my dad used to say, a little bit more breathing room. We're rebuilding America's infrastructure, driving innovation and tackling the climate crisis all while creating good union jobs and investing in communities that too often have been left behind in the past.
Oh, yeah. They're so worried about the left behind communities and climate change. Remember that Cobalt video we played of miners jumping out of a landslide cave? Hey! It was one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. That's how much they care about these diverse populations. Biden can barely read the word salad they've put in front of him with all the key buzzwords.
We're also demonstrating the resilience of American democracy. During our free, fair, and secure elections last fall, America's first national election since January 6th attack on our Capitol, voters resoundingly and roundly rejected the voices of extremism, attacking and undermining our democracy. The right to vote, to have your vote counted, is a threshold of democracy and liberty everywhere in the world. And with it, anything is possible. Without it, in my view, nothing is possible. That's why earlier this year I was proud to sign the Bipartisan Electoral Count Reform Act to ensure American elections continue to reflect the will of the American people and protect the peaceful transfer of power. You know, we're going to keep working to further strengthen protections by working to pass what we call the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. They're just to further strengthen our democracy. And
Freedom to
it's not just
vote.
the United States that's delivering on our commitment and demonstrating the power of democracy and goal.
Just demonstrating power of democracy. Can't read. Got my brother in the chat saying he's pretty sure that the shooter lived with the parents. I've read things that that they hadn't talked to the parents in some time, but maybe that is the case. Certainly something I'm going to look into. I do want to point this out. Look, if you don't understand, there's a concerted effort to go after Christians and the family, whether you like Christianity or not. Let me just show you this. And I haven't watched it yet, but, and quite frankly, I don't know if I can watch all this. Understanding the threat of white Christian nationalism to American democracy today. Again, we got Joey B talking democracy. This is an hour and 45-minute panel from the Brookings Institute and Governance Studies. What? Well, and here's the crazy thing. Take a look around at the panel. It looks like a lot of white people. It's just Jamar Tisby here from Simmons College of Kentucky on the panel discussion. So there's a threat of white Christian nationalism to American democracy. What the mother truck are you talking about? Again, democracy has no meaning whatsoever when you put it in that context. A threat to democracy. All right, back to the puppet, dementia-ridden zombie.
Angola is taking steps to build an independent judiciary, creating three new regional courts of appeal.
Three new courts of appeal, democracy.
Which are going to help process cases more quickly. The Dominican Republic has modernized its anti-corruption law to create more than 100 anti-corruption offices at local levels. Croatia is implementing a multi-year anti-corruption plan to increase government transparency and better oversee public procurement. And there are many more examples I could give, but I'm not going to take the time. In many other countries, for every person from countries taking the first steps toward reform to well-established democracies of people making real changes to protect and strengthen their democracy.
Wow. I mean, he didn't stutter on that one. I mean, he read through that really quick like this with no inflection points whatsoever, as quick as he could. Because that's what you do when you're the president of the United States. You have absolutely no charisma or charm or pause for inflection, because these aren't your words. You're not even a cognitive puppet at this point. You're struggling to get by and read through the prompter. You're Zombie J.
Look, all we know, it's not easy. This has never been easy. Democracy is hard work. The work of democracy is never finished. It's never laid down and that's it. All you have to do. It must be protected constantly.
You know what he won't talk about? He won't talk about the forefathers saying that basically our form of government, our constitutional republic, our democratic values, every once in a while, according to some of the forefathers, some of those pesky revolutionaries, that, every once in a while the streets need to be cleansed with the blood of patriots and tyrants in order to maintain that. Unfortunately, they had violence embedded embedded in our constitutional republic because they knew that tyrants would try to take power. Also why the Second Amendment's there. Also why the First Amendment's there. Also why the Fourth Amendment is there. That you are secure in your persons and property. And yet this bill wants to take all that away. And that's what we're really going to be focusing on at the top of the hour. You can listen to me go over the bill for free over at the InfoWarrior Podbean channel. We give it away for free every single day. And every single day to the premium part of the broadcast on video becomes free for everybody to watch because we're trying to get the information out there. I recently posted the rest of the Peter Thiel watch along across platforms. I hope people are checking that out as well. Let's go back to zombie Jay Biden.
We have to continually renew our commitment, continually strengthen our institutions, root out corruption where we find it, seek to build consensus, and reject political violence, give hate and extremism no safe harbor. We have to continue our efforts to advance the rights and dignity, and I emphasize the word dignity, of all people, including women and girls. Because we've been so bad to women and girls. No, we haven't. Dignity. Again, how much dignity do those cobalt miners have, Joe? It just bothers me so much when he talks about dignity. And he talks about a man's job being his pride and my dad. And the guy is full of shit. Even at this point, this guy was a professional politician gangsta. That's what he is. Make no mistake about it. That's his bread and butter. That's his gravy train with biscuit wheels. That's why they put him there. Because he was the most malleable puppet that would literally sit there and do anything they asked. Oh, you want me to blow up the Nord Stream pipeline? We'll sign off on that. Hell, we'll brag about it before we sign off on it. Even though mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. Wherever women and girls are under threat, democracy, peace, and stability are at risk as well. And we can't achieve our goals if we're leaving more than half the world's population out of the solution. We just heard from two incredible women who made an incredible case regarding Belarus.
Can't talk. He can't talk.
They're not only women, they're leaders. They deserve, and all women deserve, to be represented. Moreover, when we advance equality and racial justice and invest in young people, protect the LGBTQ plus individuals.
You knew that was coming because it wasn't really about women, okay? It's about this trans agenda. It's about that eugenics agenda I just showed you earlier. And it's about what? The state taking over. The state taking away parental rights. I mean, again, he can barely talk. He has no idea what's going on, but all the talking points are there. And Joe was their guy.
Our societies are not only fair, but they're stronger and more successful. Democracy demands full and equal participation of all of our citizens. That's how we unleash the human potential and put ourselves in the strongest possible position to take on the shared challenges. And I emphasize shared challenges. And when democracies stand together, we reinforce and amplify each other's efforts to great effect. And we've seen it over and over again. Democracy stepping up to lead and to solve problems together.
Yes, democracy has stepped up to lead and solve the problems of others. You mean like all that great democracy we brought over to the Middle East? In Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria and into Africa as well and Libya? All that democracy, Joe? I mean, that's some pretty good democracy over the past 20 years. What in the truck is he talking about?
Not just for our own people, but for the world. From our work to coordinate a global response to the COVID-19 pandemic to strengthen global health security, so we're better prepared to prevent and respond to future global health threats, to our commitment to raise our ambitions on climate goals that we have, to preserve our planet, literally preserve our planet for future generations.
And again, they care so much about the climate that they lecture us on and the carbon's credit system that they want that Joe Biden and the gang said, blow up the Nord Stream. Gonna let out all the evil carbon, so much, like the most man-made evil carbon ever. That's how much he cares about the planet and his ilk. These are Bernaysian-style talking points that this guy can barely let out because he's gone, man. He's donezo. He's out of it.
To making sure parents can feed their children, strengthening food security by building more sustainable and resilient food systems around the globe.
We've been talking about feeding the world since I was a wee lad about knee-high. Okay? Went to Hands Across America, fighting world hunger, save a village in Africa. Never been able to do it. People starve every day. In fact, the conflict, Joe, that we're still involved in Yemen, that nobody seems to talk about, with our allies, Saudi Arabia, Joe, that don't have the best human rights record for women, Joe. There's a lot of starving going on. There's an entire genocide of men, women, and children, Joe. So now all of a sudden we're going to have equitable farming for everybody? We're going to finally solve the hunger issue? They could have solved the hunger issue 30 frickin' years ago. These people thrive, survive, and live off of death, destruction, famine, and control. From death showers from above. This guy is an empty vessel of hate and lies. Make no mistake about it.
And the unprecedented unity we've seen from democracies condemning Russia's brutal war of aggression against Ukraine and standing in solidarity with the brave Ukrainian people as they defend their democracy. So today, the United States is building on our enduring commitment to boost democracy globally.
We're boosting democracy. Boost it up. I love that boost that terminology. Everything's a contagion and we're boosting. It's weird, huh? I mean, it's not a mistake either. Again, Joe doesn't write these things. He can barely read these things. But they're bringing all this language together, all of it together for their ultimate control plan of a techno-fascist collectivist society built in modern-day feudalism.
At the first Summit of Democracy, I launched a presidential initiative for democratic renewal, committed more than $400 million to shore up transparent and accountable governance, support for media freedom, to fighting international corruption.
Media freedom, like the kind of freedom where you have media personalities censored online through your Trojan horse civilian systems of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and others? Media freedom? Now you've weaponized the IRS against people in the media? Media freedom, Joe. I mean, they'll say whatever they want.
Stand with democracy and democratic reformers. Promote technology that advances democracy. Defend elections. Now, working in close cooperation with the United States Congress, we plan to add another $690 million for new funding for the presidential initiative over the next 2 years. And over the course of 3 years, my administration intends to work with Congress to commit $9.5 billion across all our efforts to advance democracy around the world. We're all safer when that occurs.
Yeah, no, we're totally safer when you spend billions of dollars to advance democracy across the world. I wonder what that black budget's like. I wonder what that war budget's like. Give me a break. Give me a break. Everything he said there, Johnny nonsense. On the other side of this, we are going to talk about the bill. I've got some more clips. We got this CFR clip on corruption that's just kind of like over the top and out of this world, and it has to be displayed with Biden's corruption in Ukraine clip. want you to thumbs up, subscribe, and share. I'm going to throw it to my producer. Tell him tell her that we're going to flip over to that other side. As we leave you, I want to thank Tom for the $5 over at the Rockfin. Let's go one at a time. Rockfin, you'll be the first one I say goodbye to. It's been good. It's been great. I love you, and we'll see you on the flip side. YouTube, thanks for coming around.